The video of the Chinese officials harassing Africans has gone viral, but unfortunately, the truth remains that every country, almost every country of the world outside of Africa, tends to either they are racist towards Africans or they tend to maltreat Africans. And this has always been on my mind. And to be honest, it's just really troubling for me. I'm just with thinking like, what's wrong? What have we done? What have we done wrong? Because when you think about it, you look at the Caucasians, there's always the history of either it's racism or some sort of abuse towards Africans. You look at the Arabs, you look at the Asians, really. So then something, and I've been thinking, something must be really wrong. And then it just struck me one of these days that it's probably because of the state of Africa as a continent. Because I like putting myself in other people's shoes. So I try to think, sometimes I try to think the way someone is thinking as well. And the only thing I really can lay my fingers on is that based on the amount of resources we have on the continent, it's just really sad the way our people are living back home in Africa. We only have a handful of African countries that really know what they are doing. And unfortunately, a lot of these few African countries, we can always find some foreign influence in them. And it's just got me thinking that for the average outsider looking at us, they must really think there's something wrong if we have so much. And our people are living. I know there's a saying we have that people are walking like elephants and they are eating like ants. And I think that is why, for me, I think that is why everybody just thinks they can mess about with Africans. Because they look at us and they think, okay, these people can't even govern themselves. It makes all these arguments about black people being not as intelligent as other people. Sometimes it makes it look valid, even though we know it's not valid, because when you give the average African a chance, we are able to prove ourselves. But there's something really wrong with the state of our countries, and especially Nigeria. You know, there's some stones in Nigeria that when I say stones, I mean precious stones that I didn't even know were in existence until I saw them on QVC abroad. And they're right there. This stone from Nigeria, when they are selling them. And I'm thinking, this is a country that is blessed with so much. And then I saw a video of bread, loaves of bread being shared. And it just really hurts me looking at that video. That video, I found it to be extremely painful. For people to be scrambling for a loaf of bread. How can we say people are treating us badly when even we can treat ourselves in a decent manner? Nigeria is a country that made most people register for OBVN, a bank verification number. You would think at least that's some sort of digitalization that's been done, because before you could do this thing, they took your fingerprints. So I would have thought that really put us like 5 or 10 steps ahead. And then to now hear the government coming up with different excuses for not taking care of the citizen. This is just ridiculous. Some people are saying, oh, what the government is saying, that once they find 5,000 naira in your account, you are not entitled. I'm sure this cannot be true, because it just doesn't make sense. What can 5,000 naira buy in Nigeria if you're telling people to stay at home for 2 weeks? How much can that buy in a country like Nigeria? So if we keep treating ourselves as if we're subhumans, then we can't blame other people when they treat us as such. And then there was this other video in the course of the week, they were sharing rice. And I'm thinking, why would you have such a crowd when you have said people should stop moving about, and then you're sharing rice and you have hundreds of thousands of people together in one place? So these are the things people see. And then I remember a friend of mine telling me there was like she used to live in London, and then she decided to move to another part of the country in the UK. And she said when she got there, even though this friend of mine was born in the UK, she was told that, oh, if you have a problem with housing, you can always go back home to Nigeria. And then you have people telling Africans that, oh, you should be grateful for whatever it is, for whatever crumbs you're given, because it's not as if where you're coming from, you can get better treatment. So are we going to keep saying people are treating us badly if even we can't treat ourselves the proper way? We need to do better. For as long as we keep treating ourselves like subhumans, there's no way you can't disrespect your own people and then you go outside and fight other people for disrespecting them. And thank God for social media. It has its advantages and disadvantages. A lot of people watch all these things happening in these African countries. When are we going to get out of this rut? For as long as Africa is not developed, people are not going to respect us. I know it can be really painful to hear when people tell us that, okay, if you're so intelligent, why are your countries not developed? Which is a reasonable question to ask. Because sometimes when you sit down and you hear people with so many, all these intelligent things, and you're wondering, okay, what is going on? You have so many intelligent people from this continent of Africa, and then you look at these countries, and the countries seem to be regressing. Our governments need to do something, and even we as citizens, we need to hold our governments up to a higher standard, really. We all need to stop being hypocritical and just be honest. And that is the reason why you go anywhere, Africans are being disrespected because we're not developing our countries. You find out the money for a whole area, one person gets it, and people are just looking on. Even though I understand that sometimes it's not just as simple as it seems. Because for a country like Nigeria, unfortunately, while most people focus their attention on the politicians, the people we really need to be looking at are the civil servants. The civil servants in Nigeria are the real problem in Nigeria. Because they are the ones that teach the politicians what to do most of the time. You find once someone comes into office, is this civil servant that tells them, oh, this is the way we do it. This is the way we steal money. This is how you can get money out of this place. And it just makes me laugh when people talk about the church and they are criticizing the church. The problem is for a country like Nigeria, the truth is, we don't have any religion in Nigeria. Let's not deceive ourselves. We have a lot of churchgoers. We have a lot of people going to the mosque. But unfortunately, we don't have people that are discipled. So people, most of the time, the churches and the mosques, they're just social gatherings for them. Because how can you say you have a religion and it's not reflecting in the way you're living? I remember having this conversation some years ago with some pastors. And they were saying, the way things are in Nigeria, when you get to work, you drop your Christianity before getting to work. And then I'm thinking, okay, how is the country going to change? If you're saying, oh, Sunday you're a Christian, and then every other day you're not. How are things going to change? So it makes me laugh that people are criticizing the church. We just have people, what we need to be speaking about is, okay, why do we have all these churches, all these people going to the church, all these people going to the mosque, and we really can't see the effects of this religion in people's lives? Because when push comes to shove, you'll find out these people don't even believe in God. They don't believe in anything, even a traditional religion. Because there is no religion on earth at the moment that supports the way Nigeria is being run. not the Christian faith, not the Muslim faith, not the traditional faith. So it just shows that a lot of people don't even serve anything. A lot of people just attend all these things just for the socials. That's all. Because the Bible says by their fruits you will know them. And I'm very sure there will be something like that in the Quran as well. And I'm sure there's something like that in the traditional religion as well. But you see a country where people are just godless. They don't even fear anything. And then you're saying, no, they are Christians. How can you call them Christians? What is it, because they're going to church? Is that what makes someone a Christian? Remember the story of Job, that even Satan came to the temple. You know, so it's not about the numbers, unfortunately. Yes, a lot of people go to church, a lot of people go to the mosque, but they don't practice any religion. That's just the truth. We need to stop deceiving ourselves. And for as long as we can't treat ourselves better, we are hypocrites for asking other people to treat us better. Because when you look at the number of people that are migrating the most, we don't even fall in the first 10 countries. The whole of African country, not one country comes to 1 to 10. So when people are saying, oh, a lot of people are leaving, we have so many people in Africa. We have a lot of brains in Africa. The solution to these countries is not abroad. Because unfortunately, when people come from abroad and they get to Nigeria, because of this godlessness, by the time they get there, it's as if, okay, before you know it, it's like there's no difference. You really can't tell a difference anymore. I'm yet to see any politician that has done well, that came from America or from abroad. I'm yet to see one. They all get there, and it's like theirs is even worse than the people that never left Nigeria. So the solution is not abroad. The solution is in that country. We have the brains. We just need to make use of it. Our problem is not tribalism. Because even when you go to the grassroots, you find out exactly the way the presidency is being run is the same way the councillors are behaving. There's no difference. And what is common to all these forms of government are the civil servants. They are the real problem of Nigeria. And unfortunately, there is this chokehold of the occult on Nigeria. Doesn't allow anything to get done. That is our main issue. The occult and the civil servants. That is the main problem we have in Nigeria. Not the churches. Leave the churches out of it. Because a lot of people are just going there just to socialize. We need to do better. And also, I remember having this conversation with some young men some years ago. I was in Nigeria, and in my part of town, they said because of there was a lot of stealing, the banks couldn't open. They had to close all the banks. And I remember we were waiting at the ATM or the cash point, you know, waiting to get some money. And I just started off this conversation with the few youths that were there. And I was trying to tell them, they were saying, oh, the government is failing them. They are not providing enough jobs. And I was saying, see, in all these developed countries, it's not the government that's going to create all the jobs. How many jobs can the government create? But the government needs to provide a conducive environment, which is sadly lacking in most African countries. But I know about Nigeria, so I'll speak about Nigeria. A lot of people, when they go to Nigeria to start businesses, they run back to wherever they came from. Because unfortunately, when people see people coming from abroad, it's as if, okay, this person had it so easy. So this is our next prey. This is our target. And people want to take advantage. What I don't understand is, once you ruin the business, how are you going to keep making money? And that is the same problem we have in Nigeria. People are just not thinking about the future. We're so particular about now. We're not thinking about, okay, what happens in 1 year time, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, and we're not planning for things. We have this young population, and I see a lot of them on Twitter, and it just makes me laugh when they give all this their comment, and I'm thinking, all these your ideas. Where were you guys when it was time to vote? So now we have seen that, okay, the fight against corruption, at least hopefully nobody wins on that platform anymore. Because as we have seen, nobody has been able to fight corruption. So the only thing now is, how do we get the best out of what we have? At least we can all agree on that. We need a government that works, for people to respect us. For as long as our countries are, pardon me, shit all countries, people will keep disrespecting us. And they'll keep saying there's something about our intelligence. Because we complain about the colonial times. And even sometimes you think, will we not be better to be under colonial masters? At least there's no way the British will govern us and like a country like Nigeria will be the way it is. No way. We have a country that is clearly not working for the average Nigerian. And then we are saying people are disrespected. Of course, they were going to disrespect us. There's that saying that when we know better, we need to do better. So hopefully going forward, now we can have some intelligent people. Really, some of these are intelligent minds. Let's put them to use. Let's put them in government. Don't just put them, you find out someone that is a chartered accountant. They will place him in the Ministry of Agriculture. Isn't that madness? And then we keep putting a square peg in a round hole, and we keep expecting a different result. Of course, we're not going to get a different result. We'll keep getting the same results. And it's up to us. We are not, in the population of the world, the number of Africans living in Africa is not up to the number of people from China that live in China. It's not up to the number of Indians that live in India. So let's stop deceiving ourselves that, oh, so many people have left. No, so many people are still back home. Please, let's do something with these minds, not just to be abusing ourselves on Twitter. Let's come together and have a country that works so that people can respect us. So that when they see our passport, respect doesn't come by asking for it. You don't ask for respect. Respect is accorded when people see your results. You don't need to ask them. They will respect you. That's the way it happens. No matter how much we shout, people will say, they will apologize to us. And then they still do exactly the same thing. Because they'll be thinking, yeah, where do you have to go back to? What options do you have? We need to make Africa work for us. We're not that many Africans abroad. That is the truth. Please, let's do something. That's energy that people have on Twitter, on social media. Put it to good use. Thank you.